And now for the epic conclusion of my thoughts on the latest volume of the Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction. Here we go. If you wish to see any more of my in-depth thoughts and have not already checked out the more in-depth reviews that I did previously, you can find a link to all of the reviews of each of these individual stories in the description below. So I'm going to give you a lightning fast rundown of my thoughts on every single one of these stories. Let's begin. Of Them All by Leah Cypess. This one was okay. This one's not for me. It's about princesses and Snow White and apples and beauty and things like that, and things that I know nothing about. But that one's okay. The Shadows of Alexandrium by David Gerrold. This one's about creativity and the process therein, and is a pretty good story I would recommend for younger readers. My Name Was Tom by Tim Powers. This one was a Lovecraftian pirate treasure hunt in space with aliens and forgetfulness and Dark Souls or something along the lines. Anyway, it was an interesting story. I don't know that I got much out of it though. The Fairy Egg by R.S. Benedict. This is a challenging polemic about the ugliness of almost all aspects of humanity, be it the far-reaching, strange denizens of the internet, corrupting and radicalizing morons, and affluent people having complete disregard for those below them, and the cautionary disadvantages and struggles of those trying to climb the social ladder. Not for me. Didn't care for it. Weeper by Mark Laidlaw. This was the sword and sorcery style fantasy of the volume, and it is about a pregnant woman finding an egg in a fallen star that turns out to be a reaper of death. Not the most gripping fantasy story that I've read. I wish it was had a little more to it and was a little more clean. Do AIs Dream of Perfect Games by Angie Peng. The mosquitoes were behind it all along. The Martian Water War, notes found in an airlock. Boy, water is important, and you gotta have water. Don't kill each other for water. Little and Less by Ashley Blooms is a story about a traumatized woman keeping animals in her basement, and is really devastating and great. The Cry of Evening Birds by James Sallis. If you were given the option to change something about someone you didn't like, would you do it? Chances are you probably would. Come on, you know you would. The Dog and the Ferryman by Brian Trent. It's a dog story. It's a story about a dog, and if you like dogs, you'll probably like this story, because it's a pretty good story about a pretty good dog. This World Is Made for Monsters by Mary Rickert. The aliens landed, and all that was true, but what you didn't know was that they were pretty cool. They were pretty cool guys. We hung out. It was fun. And then someone brought in a shotgun, and then that wasn't fun. So there can only be one best of the best in this book, and of course, my best is no guess. It's Little and Less by Ashley Blooms. The story was so evocative and so excellently concise at portraying and crafting a drama around a character with very sympathetic traumas, and how those traumas have corrupted her actions that should be so sympathetic and so from such a place of good intentions that completely go awry. Really excellent. Loved it. Read that one if you don't read anything else. My honorable mentions go to The Shadows of Alexandrium. I think that's a great story, particularly for younger readers. It has a very positive, because that story was written by someone who wrote an episode of Star Trek. I have to believe that he had some connection to Gene Roddenberry's vision of a brighter future, and I think Shadows of Alexandrium sort of exemplifies some of that. It really seems to bring out the seek positivity in creativity, and I think that's great. I think that's pretty good. I would also recommend The Cry of Evening Birds by James Sallis. That's a nice and short one. You can read it in 15 minutes, and it'll haunt you for the rest of the day. And that's the conclusion of my thoughts on this latest edition of the Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction. Hope to see you again in one of my later videos. And again, if you wish to check out more detailed reviews of any of these stories, the links are in the description below. Thank you again for watching. And that's the conclusion. The chair is squeaky. And now for the conclusion. Ooh, squeaky, squeaky, squeaky.